What's up, guys? This is the Ultimate Golf Whispering Pines VIP. We're going to be working through here. This is going to be the same setup here, regardless of division. So feel free to enter any division that you want. It's not really going to scale things. It is just going to be one event, regardless of division. So I'm just going to pop in here. And we're going to do the setup. Keep in mind that this will be fixed wins, and the rewards will be more performance-based. So, for instance, you beat my score, you beat my eagle count, stuff like that. That's what you're going to get rewarded for. So this is a very unique style of events. I'm just going to work through things and kind of show you guys the gist. One of the things that you can play for is pins. So these pins are going to make things easier for you. So for instance, if we find a clubs power pin, boost power of golf clubs by 25. And you can see what that does is it allows me to put the target up here. We can also stack pins. So stacking pins is also something that you can do. You can do a club and ball power pin. So you can see where the original line was and look where I'm able to extend this target to. So now we did a clubs pin. We did a power pin with the ball and power. And this is saying just a shade under 3 rings. So definitely you Golf Clash players will definitely understand exactly how to go with number of rings. And you can just see how I'm kind of shifting my alignment. Keep in mind this Holy Driver has full guide, so you can, if you zoom in, you'll be able to see that's exactly where the ball is stopping. So I'm just going to expect it to stretch out just slightly. So since it's going to stretch out, I'm going to keep that ball guide just a tiny bit short. And then I'll also go just a hair under 3 rings. And that's exactly what you can see. I'm just going just a hair under 3 rings. You can see I'm aiming straight at the cup. And we're just going to play this one very aggressive. This is a good opportunity for you guys to be able to get an ace. So you can see, look how close I was able to getting the ace. You can definitely dial it up, even more so than me. I'm just kind of going to get through these and just kind of show you guys the way. And hopefully you guys can have even more success than me on this VIP. But that's what you could see that I did is I went for that first hole, and that's how I did it. I was able to do it with the club and power pin. And then you can see we are going to just play this one straight up. Another thing that you can also do is use pins for this. You can put a top spin pin. I'm just going to play straight up. We're not going to do anything extra. Be sure to try to get your ultimate shots. It's going to make it just a little bit easier. I'm going to just temporarily, I'll turn this little arrow off just to make it just a little bit easier for us to read the screen. Use this video to your advantage, guys, because there's going to be some real good scoring opportunities. This is one of my favorite courses to play. Hopefully you guys also like it as well. We're going to, this is 10 rings for max. This is about 15 rings for max on the Bigfoot. It is going to be a fixed bag. So this says that it's a 12 ring span, something. Let's see. It's Orion. Orion is the correct short iron. So let me pop out here and we'll set up our bag for Orion. So if you're not seeing the ring span the way that you want, you need to equip the correct short iron. And you can see it opened it up to 22 rings, just like that, just by switching. And how many did we say we were? 15 for max, give or take? It's saying 2.9 rings. Just going to reactivate our grid here. We'll put this ball guide very aggressive. Very aggressive. And you see that I'm using just straight backspin. Keep in mind, you guys will have the same wind angles, same approaches. Everything will be fixed for this event. So in there you can see how close I am to the hole. You'll want to use this to your advantage. It looks like I'm just right at 2 rings from the pin. So, and you can use this to your advantage, and you see my adjustment is almost 3 rings. So we're going to try to go almost 3 rings. You can see that I'm setting up my zoom. I'm setting up my correct zoom to be scaled almost exactly where we want it. And as you can see, we'll just go just a fraction less than 2.9. And we were 2 rings from the pin. Keep that in mind, because that's going to give you, oh, so it rolled right over the edge of the cup. An 1800, that's as close as you can be without getting the drop. So it is all over. And you can see that is the perfect adjustment. I just needed to maybe just shift my wind arrow just a fraction less, or just 1 tick mark less in under pull would have just sent that just a fraction to the right more. So keep that in mind, and you should be able to have very good success with this one. And this is almost 10 rings from the pin. Sometimes what I do on this, since it's on a very big hill, is I'll just take off some of the backspin. It's a little bit easier to make without max. So I'm going to go just a little bit beyond, and this was about, what, 9.5 rings? You can see my spin, it's right on the top of that 8th bar. So right on the top, and you can see I'm about 1.6 rings from the pin this time. There's much more of a slope on this one. And like we mentioned, we're about 9 rings from the pin, which is going to change our ring adjustment. So this is saying what? 656. So, or 356, sorry. We're going to do the same thing, get our proper zoom amount. So we just shift our zoom to be perfectly scaled. That's exactly what you can see that we're doing. Three, 5, 6. That was that 256? Did I go 256 or 356? I feel like I only went 256 on accident. So I need to go 1 more ring, which is right about here. So sorry for doing that in 2 pulls. Hopefully you guys can, get this drop. I'm pretty sure I pulled the first number wrong, so that's why I made the correction, and we wound up going 1 extra ring. Everything was perfect, but same thing. I missed just slightly to the left. So what does that mean? We just need to, ever so gently, we just need to rotate the screen. You can see what I'm doing with my fingers. Just rotate the screen this way to pull our ring just a fraction, just the slightest margin more inward and long versus, so it's just like a needle correction. So we're just rotating to be able to get that drop. So definitely keep that in mind. We're going to play this one aggressive. This is a very good hole for you guys to get your long drive, potentially drive this green. And you can just kind of reference aim this. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do this with no pin, see if it gets there. And you can see where I'm aiming. I'm about 2.5 rings from the rough here. I'm just going to maybe just gently curl it just to give it just a little bit of extra right. And let's just see how it plays out with no pins. If this isn't enough, one of the things that you guys can do is you can just make the correction. And it looks like maybe coming up just a little bit short. And I'm also to the left too much. So we can curl it around there harder. You guys can use practice pins. You guys can use other members. You can see this is just a little bit short. So with this shot, I came up just a little bit short. That was full max everything with a Pro DX. So you need to give it just a little bit more than I did. and a good opportunity for you guys to get this one. So hopefully you guys are able to. And one thing that I want to show you is we're close enough we don't have to adjust for the wind. So you're going to see that I'm just going to put this ball guide right in the hole. When you're close to the hole in Ultimate Golf, the wind won't play. So you just got to get within that kill zone. And it's typically right around the 25% mark. So if I was to use the Ultimate Golf guide for Ultimate Golf, is I would just kind of use one of my, so this is a Hive 8 scaled, this is Hive 8 scaled, as long as I'm within 25%, so this is a 100-point scale, so as long as I'm like here, you can see where I'm pointing, this is like 25%, so I would go to full zoom, as long as it's within that distance from the pin, then you are able to do, or from where you're landing, not even the pin, from wherever you're landing the ball, that's all, you only have to be that close. So as long as you're close enough, that's all you need to be in that kill zone. In this hole specifically, this is a good opportunity for you guys to maybe blast this one down there. And you don't have to, this is like an optional thing to do, but here's a driver wood pin that we can put on. And what does this do? You can see it maxes my top spin. You can see it gives me extra top spin. It gives me extra everything. So a little bit extra power, a little bit extra top spin. And this is really a pin geared towards getting the ball off and getting it off a very long way. And the goal here was to get within hive range. And that's why we used that pin. So you don't have to use that pin. It's not an absolute requirement. But what it does is it lets me hit this hive shot. And with hive shot, you're just going to put the ball guide just ever gently using some backspin because it's so close to max. And we're just basically going to use the max ring adjustment. Whatever max tells me, I'm just going to go. And in this case, as you can see, it's 7 rings. And that's all we're going to do for this shot is we're just going to go 7 rings, maybe just a hair more since we're not using full backspin. So why do we go more? It's because we're not quite using full backspin. You got to keep in mind that the ring values that it gives you assumes that you're using full backspin. And that was right on line. As you can see, it was like 7.1, 7.2. It just didn't have enough backspin. So, and just by a fraction. I mean, I only needed like 0.2 more clicks, not even a full bar or anything. It just needed to just be just gently more. And it's a great opportunity for you guys to get that one. So realistically, you know, let's think about all these holes that we've played so far. We could have got all of these very, very easily with very, very little correction needed. Now, what I'll typically do here is I'll try to find a spot that seems stable. The other thing we can do is we can add curl to this. And you can see this is the tree that is the suspect. So if we can find a land zone, say right here, and we can utilize our backspin as well if we need it. So I'm looking something to the effect of this. We're going to try to land right in here. So keep in mind, how are we going to do this? How are we going to land in this spot? So it's 3.2 miles per hour. We're going to hit a curl shot and land right here. This is the goal. So we'll use our max number, 3.2. It's saying 3.2 rings. So I'm going to go almost 3.2 rings, maybe just a hair less. Because as you can see, I was still pointed just a little bit to the right. And then we're just going to apply our curl. And the hopes is that it curls around the tree instead of hitting the tree. And it looks like it did. So this is exactly what we want. And as you guys can see, a very good opportunity for you guys to grab an ace. So I just missed it to the right. So we just need to make just one little slight mod. And if you guys are still having some tree trouble or concerned about that tree, you can also do an all-stat pin. So let me show you that on this next hole. I'll just show it to you real quick. The all-stat, it's very similar to what we just used, the driver wood all-stat. So this is a multi-stat. This will give you extra curl by 20. So this will let you curl it around the tree harder. So do keep that in mind. If you want a little bit of extra curl, that's an easy way to go about getting it. And again, you know, this is a perfect opportunity for us to use another one of those driver wood pins. So, and maybe I only go with 20 for this one. Or let's just look at what 20 does. Like, does it get to the green? That's the type of thing that you want to be looking at, and it looks like it does. So 20 is plenty. And this is the type of stuff that you want to be thinking about. So we're going to try to, and keep in mind this is a driver wood pin. So since it is a driver wood pin, our ring adjustment is different. You got to keep in mind when you use a driver wood pin in this game, your accuracy changes as well. And I don't have it mapped out for exactly how much extra that you need to go. But basically what it means is if this says go 3.9 rings, it's not enough because we've changed our accuracy by 20. So how much extra do we need to go? And it's usually like something like this. I'm going like 20% more, this type of thing. Oh, that's uphill. That's the wrong way. So I typically go like this. So maybe like 4.6 rings or something, 4.7. So we'll go more rings. I'll go almost 5 straight up. And let's just see if that's right. So that's like 4.9. And if you guys, you know, want to see basically what I'm doing, it's kind of like this. This is how much I went. Basically, that's like 23% downhill. And all that's doing is just adding extra ring adjustment because of the fact that we change our accuracy with this pin. So with this pin I just used, it changed my accuracy, so I need to factor that in, and that's what I was trying to factor in. And maybe that's not even enough. So maybe, you know, straight up 5, but also keep that ball guide just a little bit shorter. As you can see, it ran out too much. We want to keep it from running out too much. So that's what you guys want to try to concentrate on, is rolling it out less. So rolling it out less will be the key there. And there you guys can see we are able to get that one, hole number 7. And here's hole number 8. You can see a little bit in between clubs on this one. Couple different ways that we can go about this. So when you're in between clubs, one of the things that you can do is a ball power pin. What this will do, look at this, it extends the range of my club. And look at how close this puts it. So you can see the way that it's breaking. So typically what I'll do is I'll try to straighten out this guide first and foremost. So you'll see that I'll just kind of shift this to where it pulls straight back, or very, very close to straight back. Sometimes I even try to extra just so it cuts back just a little bit to the left. And what this does is in the event that you overpull, it'll actually zip back just a fraction, which is what we want. That's exactly what we're trying to do. I'm going to play this very aggressive. So what does that mean, aggressive? I'm keeping this ball guide attached to it. So instead of pulling away all of this ball guide to make it like stop on the hole, I'm trying to get this to come back even more. And the advantage to getting it to come back just a fraction more is playing it aggressive, but it gives it that much more of a chance that it's going to suck back into the hole. So we're going to play it like this. And you can see what that looks like in terms of my backspin. It's maybe 6.5 bars, give or take. And then we're just going to pull this 6, 7, 5. So this is 6 rings, and we'll go another 7, 5. It's probably right here. And like I mentioned, a little bit of an overpull, and it'll still suck back to the left because of this wind effect. So an overpull in this situation is not the end of the world. Oh, but we actually end up just landing it with the second bounce on the hole. So, and if that would have landed on the right edge of the hole, it probably would have sucked back too much to the left. So I needed even more of an overpull than what I did. But as you can see, I'm able to get that. We're able to hold that out. And we are on pace for a really good score for this tournament. You can see the power of pins for this game are very strong. It makes it, but at the same time, it makes it a lot more enjoyable. Like, I really like playing with these pins. It makes for a really cool competition. And here you can see no pin being applied, nothing. And we're just going to kind of, and the reason that you might overplay this is because these ring values, when it says 3.3, go 3.4 rings, this assumes full backspin. We're not doing full backspin, we're doing full topspin. So when you're doing full topspin, you need to do an overpull. So instead of going 3.4, I'm going to go more like 3.75, and this is downhill 10. It's just like an overcorrection. So 3.75 instead of 3.8. And let's just give that a whirl, see what it looks like. And you can see that we got that ball guide going right towards the hole. We're just going to do this overpull like I mentioned. It's kind of like an intentional overpull. Almost 4 rings here. This ball guide's going to change as well. So let's just see how this comes in. You can see it's coming in nice, just not taking the break. But you can see very good. There, it's breaking. So I almost played it well, just a fraction too much. Very good opportunity for you guys to get the ace on that one. We didn't use any pins, nothing fancy. It was just, a trophy ball. And we're able to give that one a very good go. And look at our tiebreakers for this. Minus 17. And we did a very nice 9 there. And 13. I left room for you guys to beat that too. Like, nothing was super tight. Like, I made some mistakes. So, don't feel intimidated. Just use this video to your disposal. And all you need to do is make slight modifications on what I'm doing. If you want to score really, really low, that's going to be the secret to doing it. And with the addition of pins for this game, it just makes it so enjoyable to play. Look, that extra topspin that we got, that extra power that we got, you can see it's almost getting to the green. And this is another instance where if you do want to put that second pin on, this is 2 pins. So if you stack your pins, look at what it does. It just gets it that much farther. And with this holy driver, we have 100% of our guide shown here. We're just going to aim just like this. And again, this is overplay. We got to do a significant overplay in this. Because one, we have driver wood pin on. Oh, so that's actually one thing we could do to make this shot actually easier. Let's remove the driver wood. Let me show you guys this. And we'll switch to not a driver pin because that's going to be a multi-stat. But we're going to put on a club power pin instead. Club power. And this is actually going to boot. And what this does is it doesn't change your accuracy. So not changing the accuracy. The only issue with doing it this way is we need topspin still. So we have to equip a second pin. So this is the disadvantage. To get this full effect, as you can see, I extend. We can get the full effect. We can get this ball guide to be curling up towards the hole. But the only way that we can get this extra effect, and this looks like, you can see how much slope it's taking. This looks pretty good. We need to use 2 pins, and that's why a driver wood pin is so popular. If you can memorize how much overplay you need, just keep in mind that it's changing your ring size. So since it's changing your ring size, that's where you need to be mindful to know how much to overplay. If you just use a power pin like I'm doing, it's not changing my accuracy. We don't really have to overplay. Well, we do have to overplay, but it's for a different reason. It's because we're applying so much topspin. So our overplay is going to be more like 11% versus you'd probably have to go at least 3. You'd have to go at least 4 or 5 rings here if you change your accuracy. So I want to avoid changing my accuracy, and I'm just going to slight overplay. This is like 3.2, 3.3 rings. And we're just gonna just gently overplay even beyond that. Maybe it's 3.3 rings. And you can see we had to use 3 pins with this. But it's just one of those cool things where we get to blast the ball farther than we would have and be able to hit a cool shot that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. I might have even made this. Oh man, was that close. So that close to getting a hole-in-one in this VIP challenge. That would have been an awesome thing to do. We probably could have set up a special reward for that in the event that I did get that. But if you do get one of those, you will really inflate your score in a big way. As you guys can see, there's a lot of opportunity to put up big numbers on this. And this hole specifically, again, we won't have to use a pin at all for this one. So this setup in general is just set up for you guys to throw darts. So make sure that you're trying to take advantage. You can see I'm intentionally keeping this ball guide short, and then it's going to break back to the left. So I'm kind of intentionally keeping this ball guide over here to the right because it's going to break back to the left. You can actually see the guide doing that, and it's also going to stretch out. So keep in mind stretching out. So with the stretch out, you have to keep that ball guide short. So make sure you guys are doing that. Make sure you're doing some of the overplay similar to what we just did. So instead of going 2-8, we're going to go maybe like 3-2. And the reason for the overplay is because these ring values assume we're using full backspin, not a topspin shot. So the extra ball wind effect and all that is going to be changing the shot. Oh, it looks like it's actually a left-pointed wind. So I'm just going to kind of, I'm going to end up shifting this. I thought it was a right-pointed wind. I'm going to just shift this over just slightly. I thought it was slightly left-pointed instead of slightly right-pointed. So I was trying to keep that ball guide just a little bit extra to the right, and I think I should try to keep it just a little bit extra to the left. Maybe I should have just kept it. But all things considered there, very good shot. As you guys can see, we can get very aggressive. We didn't need to do anything fancy. Like there's no overpower needed. There's nothing fancy, no pins on this one. It was just very, very straightforward shot. And here is hole number 12. See what the wind is. Wind straight in the face. Very, very long hole. Just going to kind of, I might not even use power. We'll use power. I'm going to go full power. We're not doing anything fancy, not trying to get the ball out there, you know, anything crazy. As long as I get it to my big foot distance, that's all I'm kind of trying to do. I'm just going to disable this crosshair again just so we can see just a little bit easier. I think we'll be here. We should be. The goal was to stay within this club range, so hopefully we did that successfully. And we did. So you guys can follow suit and do exactly what I did. That's about 3 rings from the pin. Here's about 5 rings from the pin. I think this one gently breaks to the left, so I usually try to straighten that ball guide out like this. See, that's exactly what I'm doing here. We're just trying to straighten this out. I usually play the second bounce very aggressive. So it makes it look like the second bounce should be like on the hole. It's very intentional. It's almost 2 bars that I'm using of right spin here. It's almost 2 full bars of right spin. Full back spin, we are, what was this, 5 rings from the pin. So we'll do 5 rings for max. This is going to give us a very nice estimation. So this is 375. So 375, I'm just going to kind of eyeball this, 375. Not too worried about it. It's a very straight wind. So if I do this right, very good chance that we can get this drop. This one naturally likes to roll out just a little bit extra, so you don't typically have to worry about it stopping on the front lip. So as you can see, just as I mentioned, there's the double eagle. Very good opportunity for you guys to get that one. As you can see, I was able to as well. And that's just inflating my score that much more. So we're already on pace That's what, an extra 7 under on this side. All these holes are going to be gettable. That's what I would really enjoy this setup. Hopefully you guys do as well. You know, feel free to reach out, give me a holler, see what you guys think about it. We are gonna, you can see I'm kind of keeping this ball guide short. Look how much curl this has. I mean, it's just an insane amount. We're gonna keep this ball guide short intentionally. We're just gonna do, I'm thinking somewhere around 4 rings on the adjustment, 3.5. The extra wind effect should help bring this to the right. That is the goal. So let's put this in. This is a 3. So it's saying 3, but then we're going to do the same thing where we overplay 3.5. So we'll just do 3.5. Somewhere right in here. Maybe just a little gentle extra to the right. I think it's going to be hard to get this to the right of the hole. But let's just see. Let's see if it actually rolls out and gets there, because I'm thinking it might even come up short. And sure enough, it does. So we left it just a little bit short there. You guys might want to use extra topspin, or you can just use overpower. You can definitely get that one to the hole. So try to learn from my mistake. Of course, we're still able to get the eagle, but you guys can easily out tiebreaker me on that one. So I left more than enough room for you guys to be able to get there. And you can see this setup, it's set up for success. All of these holes super drivable. All of these holes with the Holy Driver are set up for you guys to be able to be, you know, precision-like snipers. So you can see I'm keeping this ball guide short, maybe just a hair to the right, intentionally. And then we're going to do this overplay trick that you've been seeing us do. We'll do something like this, 3.5 again. Right around 3.5. And let's see if this shot should be better than the last hole. So right there. And this should be better than our last attempt. I trust this guy just a little bit better than the last hole we were playing. Let's see if it rolls out. It's still coming up just a hair short. So those hills there are hard to navigate and get this up to the hole. So keep that in mind for your guys' attempts. But I left enough room for you guys to clean up and beat my tiebreakers. So hopefully you are able to. As you can see on this one, this is 10 rings for max. This is 13 rings for max, give or take. I usually use just a hair. This would be 12 rings. I usually use a hair of left spin on this, almost 2 full bars. It just straightens up this guide to where it rolls out straight, which is what we want. We're going to call this about 12 rings for max here. You can see I'm putting that ball guide very aggressive up onto the hole. This is about 1.6, 1.7 rings from the pin. And we'll do 3/8. We said it was what, 5 rings from the, was it 5 pin? I think it was 5. So we'll do that. 3.7 rings on the adjustment. So let's give this a go. So let's take a look here. It's coming in nice. It should break to the... You can see everything looked good. I was maybe just a little bit too great on my shot setup, because you could see it wound up right behind the hole. So that side spin that I put on there was perfect. It just needed, my starting setup needed to be maybe 1.8 rings from the pin. So I just needed to back off just ever so gently. Not very much, but just a little bit. And you could have seen that we would have been able to get that very easily. I usually play this one close to maybe 80%. And I might just wing this as opposed to setting it up. So if you guys can basically set up 80% or maybe 83, 84, it should be very proportionate to what you need to do. It's really just going to be about getting that ball guide just in the perfect situation. As you can see here, we're kicking it back towards the hole. I'm kind of keeping it maybe just a fraction to the left of the hole. That's typically my approach because it's going to change ever so gently. So if I'm rolling it back 1 cup from the left, it usually offsets and corrects itself after your ring pull. So we're going to go 7 rings straight up at this angle, and we'll see if we can't get this one nailed perfect. That's about 84%. So let's give this a go, see what it looks like. So far, so good. Either something was off a little bit on my, because it might have been just my pull angle there. I pulled it kind of like a little crazy angle because there's no way that the ball guide didn't change and, you know, come back to the right. I think I just got a little bit too outside left. As you could see, where I wound up seemed a little bit farther to the left than my initial setup. So I needed to be just a little bit more careful with my pull angle in that situation. But all things considered, you should be able to put up a very similar pull angle there. Trying to get this. Let me just go ahead and resubscribe. Yeah, sorry about this, guys. Like, I live in kind of like I live in the free plus subscription model. So since I live in both zones, you'll see that it hops out on my account. And I only have a subscription for, 20, 30 minutes, whereas the usual. So there we are. We got it back. I'm just going to get this off the tee. Nothing too fancy. We'll just blast this. Again, maybe a good opportunity for you guys to utilize something that's a little bit extra just to get it up to kind of an easier zone. So driver, good chance to use up driver wood pins because it's going to extend your power plus your top spin. So that's like a win-win, power plus top spin. The goal is to get this up to hive zone, because if you get it up to hive, you just make for an easier pitch. And when we talk about hive, we put on hive scaled, for example. And we'll see if we can get up to this zone. It just makes for an easier shot, especially in a tailwind. So we'll see if this was enough. I think it was, but it might not have been. It looks like we just made it, but we're going to have to do more of a top spin approach. So you'll see that I keep this ball guide short intentionally. We're also going to have to do a slight overplay. This ball guide should change dramatically. So 100% number saying 7.7. Full top spin says, so you can see this is the top spin model. It's saying 10.5 rings, 7.7. We're not doing full top spin, plus the wind isn't very high. So I'm going to do a subset, like somewhere in the middle of that. I'm thinking like 9.5 rings. Keep in mind the top spin model is because of the fact that you're applying top spin. We're applying like half top spin. So we need to be somewhere in the middle of those two models. And I'm thinking right around 9.5 rings is kind of going to be the sweet spot. So that's how much you're going to see me go for this one. Maybe just a hair under 9.5. It's like 9.4. Then just make sure that you're got your alignment down. Let's just give that a go. I feel that this is definitely close. Just doesn't, I just don't know if it's in or not. And it looks like it's just off. So maybe just a hair too much, maybe 9.25. But you could also see that ball guide, it rolled out a little extra. So even keeping the ball guide short, you got to make sure that you're keeping it short enough, because it is going to stretch out because of a tailwind. And that's exactly what you can see happening there, is the tailwind got me. And look at this one, wind straight in the face. This is a reasonable opportunity for you to use a power pin. If you do use it, you know, if you can get across here, this is typically a very straightforward pitch. It's also a very risky shot. It's not something you have to do. But if you did want to, let's just take a look at what the option looks like. So if we do use a clubs pin, which is an multi-stat, you'll see that it'll boost this up. And you can see, you know, our goal here is to get this to roll across the cart path. We're just going to set up right like this. We got our top spin. We got all this. Let's just see if we can't roll across. Just for some fun, you know, why not? And sure enough, there it is, there it is, there it is, still rolling. And like I mentioned, when you do get it up here, it is a very straightforward pitch. A lot of times the wind doesn't even play. Or if it does play, it's going to be so gently that you might not even have to factor it in. So let's see if we can't just aim on this rough, get our spin and ball guide looking just about right. And you can see exactly what I'm doing is I'm just kind of positioning this in the hole or left edge. Kind of a nice left edge here, or center. And that's the advantage to getting it over here. Let's see, a little bit early on my timing, but hopefully close enough that it doesn't deflect to the right. And sure enough, right into the hole. So very easy. You don't have to play the wind. All you got to do is position that ball guide just a little bit short. So when you do pull off that shot, it makes for a very straightforward. You can see a -17, -17. So a lot of potential for you guys to go low. I left room for improvement. Like, you can shoot 40 under on this setup. Like, it's a very, very aggressive. And you can see this is my scorecard. Let me just go ahead and just kind of knock this off just so we can see. This is the full scorecard. I'll just go ahead and take a screenshot of this just to save it. You know, room for you guys to beat this as well. So hopefully you guys can do that. Hopefully this guide is helpful for you and you understand the Guide for Ultimate Golf wind tool, which is available for free in the Android and Google Play. So all you have to do is search for Guide for Ultimate Golf. Here you can see Guide for Ultimate Golf. And this is it. It's free to download, free to use. Hopefully you guys have some great success with this tournament. These VIPs, I'm trying to help you guys, walk you through so you understand the nuances about this game. This game can be so much fun to play, and various communities have been really coming together and starting to play this more and more, and highly recommend it. So best of luck out there. Give me some thumbs up and subscribe if you guys like the content. Best of luck out there with your rounds, and see you guys next time. Take care.